Yields back. For what purpose does Mr. Tiffany seek recognition?
To speak on the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you very much. So we heard in the chairman's opening remarks, he said, only 14 days. That was the quote. And so only 14 days to give up your rights. It's reminiscent of about 18 months ago when it was 2 weeks to stop the spread. Is this the standard we use now, that it's only 2 weeks that you give up your rights? We all know if you give them up, you give your freedoms up for a day, it may be a lifetime. So one of the things that's being left unsaid, there's a fair amount of talk here today in regards to the school shootings, which are really horrific actions that have been taken. But in one of the South Florida shootings, the FBI was notified. They ignored the actions that they ignored what was happening and the actions they could have taken. An FBI that seems to have lost its mission here in America. They should have been paying attention to things like this where it truly has to do with the safety of the American people. The other thing I would say is we have a statute in Wisconsin, it's called Chapter 51, and my colleague from Wisconsin alluded to it earlier, which handles involuntary commitment. The state of Wisconsin is handling this just fine. And what I would say to the federal government in regards to an issue like this is, butt out. This is used rarely, but it's used appropriately in Wisconsin. And it was written in a way that was constitutional in our state. So I just say to the American people out there, you're seeing a pattern in this Congress in the short 10 months that it's been here. And I sure hope the American people are paying attention. We have a couple bills before us right now that are being negotiated. Trillions and trillions of dollars are going to be spent. What's one of the key provisions in it? 87,000 new IRS agents. Boy, doesn't that make you feel good. $10,000 in transactions. Oh, it went up from $600 to $10,000. Don't worry, we have compromised. $10,000 in aggregate transactions in a year. There are very few people that will not meet that threshold. We have an attorney general last week that wanted to deny people their First Amendment rights. And I would say to my colleague on the other side of the aisle, then why did he write that memo saying that the FBI should work with local law enforcement? Why did he write that memo then, if he didn't really mean to put the jackboot of the federal government on parents who simply attend those local school board meetings? By the way, I'm one of those parents who has attended school board meetings over the last 18 months with my friends, my neighbors, and with my constituents. And as a former town board member who was in a few ruckus meetings here and there, there's an easy way to deal with it if people get out of control, is you call your local sheriff department. Federal government, butt out. The states can handle these situations. And by the way, while talking about the actions of the Attorney General, where he contemplated, let's put the full weight of the government, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, even the Security Division of the Post Office. Did you all know there's a Security Division of the Post Office? The school boards asked for all of it, and the Attorney General was willing to grant that for them. And I would point out, an August member of this committee who is no longer here, whose picture is hanging on the wall right over there, wrote a lengthy article about using the Patriot Act against parents in America. That was never contemplated. I urge you to read that article if you doubt at all what could happen if the Attorney General gets his way with parents across America. Let's be real clear. Federal extreme risk protection orders are a fancy name for red flag laws, and they are a very simple thing that the left has been trying to do in this country for decades, and they will continue to do it. and that is simply a gun grab. This bill is written for gun grabbers across America. We must vote no to protect Americans' fundamental freedoms, whether it's the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, or all of them that have been written to protect us all. Thank you.
Have you noticed that as everything around you seems to decline, one thing still grows? It is the power of your rulers. None of their plans and directives have solved your problems or made your life better. The only result has been their increased control over you at the cost of your freedom. Do you know why? You gave them the power.